I just need to change real quick, but for starters, what I want us to start with is going to be this. I'll show you guys real quick. Alright, we are going to start standing up in top rock position. We are going to do 2 cross steps, which is going to be 1, 2, it's a back step, 3, 4, spin, from here. I'm going to give you 1 of 3 options. Option A is going to be we're not going to name it the exact technique, but we're going to take our right foot, this right arm is going to come all the way over, and we're going to flip over. We're going to use that as they go down. That is going to look just right here. And this is going to have us start into this position right here. For option 2, here, right? You spin. We are going to step, hook, come down, and kick out. That's option 2. And option 3 is from here. We're going to keep it super simple. Jump, spin, down, out. Right? Once you hit that, we are then going to go into an atomic 6-step, which is hitting each of the well, not corners, but each of like 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to have us start just right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll go slower for the last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the very last thing that you're going to do when you come back to the center, you're going to lean forward. We're going to stab, place this here, come up, and hold for 10 seconds. If you got that, you're going to actually make it into an actual freeze. We're coming down and looking right here. And then if this is easy enough, bring it in, come up, 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 and up. And we were set. So we're going to do that for, we'll put like 5 minutes on the timer. And I'm going to walk with you one more time after I change. So again, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We spin. Option 1 is you step. This right arm comes up. And we're going to jump all the way over. And yep, so it's a little scary if you're not used to it, but that's just something, you know, if you want to challenge. Option 2 is from here, step, hook, down, knee drop, right? And then we're going to take this left leg and we're just going to kick it out. And option 3 is here, spin, jump, spin, down, kick out. All right, and then from here, we're going to lean in, just like that, to then go directly to our 6-step. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to hit each side, and once we get right back here, we are then going to lean forward, stab, right here, up, and hold. If you got this, take it to the next level, come down and hook right here, all the way over. And if you got that, bring it in, go on top of your head, come up and push all the way up into handstand, boom, and come right back up. So you have options. What you want to work with, that's like a chain real quick, right? Yeah, so pace yourself. You can experiment with each the different variations as well, but again, this is just give the fun, right? I'm going to put the music up a little bit louder, and I'll be right back. You get stuck, I got you. Just take it from the top, starting now. Left leg out, right leg in. Two arms going all the way down. Switch sides, please. Awesome. So today is going to be a drill day. Also, are you guys cool with the lighting? Okay. Today's going to be a drill day. And at any point, if whatever I ask you guys to do is too intense, I will try to accommodate like your skill levels, meaning I'll put it down. Same thing goes if whatever it is that we're going over and you feel like, okay, this is, I got this, and you want me to like up it up, I got you, right? So we're gonna start with footwork. And from here, we're actually gonna go back into our 6th step. So I feel like at this point, actually, we just keep a track. So for you two, are we comfortable with 6 steps? Yeah.
I was trying to practice it.
Okay.
It was okay. Then I don't know.
Do you mind if I see if it's just like perfect? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got it.
Okay.
Alright, for sure. Dope. So for this, we are going to do our regular 6 step. 1, 2, and then from here we are going to drop down to our knee here, and then we're going to bring this other knee all the way here. We're going to lean back, so we're pretty much sitting on our heel, and we're going to come through just like that, and then come right back up, right? So, and that's just going to be half of the step. So again, 1, 2, down, down, back, up, back, just right there. Because I just want you to get an idea of how it's going to feel dropping onto both of your legs. And it's going to pretty much act as a sweep, in a sense, right? So again, 1, 2, down. Once you get comfortable, instead of you going like 1, 2, you could just drop them down together. Just be really cautious of like how much weight you're putting down onto both of your knees at the same time. Again, from here, I'm going to have them come down, because if you have them up here, you're going to get stuck. Just make sure that they're pointing down. And again, I'm going to put all of my weight over to my left side, and I'm switching over just right there onto my butt, and then come right back up. Alright? Because eventually, what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to have you start a regular 6 step, just right here. And then we are going to spin, but when we spin, I'm going to have you go like this. This is going to transition into a whole other movement. But the reason why I'm breaking it down in this really weird sense is because I just want you to get somewhat familiar with this coming onto your shin region, in addition to you just getting into the habit of doing that. Because I think when I did like I was teaching a adult class in Long Island, and like a lot of the people, like they felt that this motion, like this, was like very unnatural for there. So I had to drill that. Starting from 6 step, which is I think one of the more traditional steps that everybody I think has at this point. And I wanted you to have some level of familiarity before just having you go into this step like that. Right? And this is nothing more than a transition and connect movement together. Because you don't have any pants, I am concerned about you getting burned. I forgot to say this, but typically with each class, because I not unless I get like a DM in advance, like you guys are like never gonna know like what I'm gonna do. I was just trying to tell people to just bring either knee pads, something to protect your head, and some type of windbreaker. Same thing with you too, man. I am concerned with you as well. I mean, I know you do other stuff too, so you might get used to it, but yeah, I always just, want you guys to be prepared just in case, we go over something, and I don't want you guys to get hurt. But you have a question? Or yeah. All of it. Yeah. And this is depending on like how I guess aggressive your 6 step is going to be. So especially some people, like they'll use 6 step just as a step, but I've seen other people use 6 step as way again, so I'll go over it a couple more times. I'm gonna put a timer, and you guys are just gonna just try to drill it by yourselves, and then you guys are gonna eventually do 6-step, like a full out 6-step with more force, and then you're going to do like the full slide, or like the full. I guess we can call it a sweep. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure what the correct name for that is, but you're coming around like that on each side. But this is a really cool way, again, to transition from one footwork step to another, or you can use threads onto any other type of forward. It's something that I used to do a lot more, like when I was a beginner, and it's just one of those. I'll be honest with you guys, like sometimes like when I'm thinking of ideas like moving over in class, I'll like rewatch old footage and I'm like, alright, we're gonna do this. And I thought that it could be like a cool thing to explore. I don't think I brought up this before while me teaching at Modega. But again, so again, you're gonna start here. You're going to do 1, 2, drop down, leaning back. You're putting all your weight on this back left English, holy shit. Yes, my shoulder and like this left hand. And I'm going just right there. So once we're kind of like on the side of your butt, switching over, pushing forward, and then you're gonna come back up and do it again. Right?
The direction.
And ooh, I've never tried. Let's see it. Alright, so 1, 2, boom. Wait, hold on. Here, lean back. Here, so let me do it again. 2. I think this feels so awkward going the other way. Yeah.
I thought you were right.
I mean I am, but I feel more confident doing my footwork counterclockwise. Okay. It's the same thing like when I train power, everybody's like excited. You're supposed to be doing it the other way. And yeah. Oh. Yeah, which is really bizarre. I know. And I'm still, trying to level up myself. So yeah. But for now, that's what I just want us to start with. And then and I'm happy you actually brought that up, because if you feel comfortable doing this on one side, go to the other. Alright, so if you feel like, okay, this is easy, just switch sides. Alright, so you're hitting, again, the first 2 steps of 6-step, you're dropping down into both your knees, sitting back, sweeping, coming right back out. And then eventually, when you get comfortable, increase the speed. If you're like 100% comfortable with the timer, switch sides. Okay, some music going. Alright, let's get it. And the speaker died. 1 second. What is going on? No music. Yeah, I think it died. It just turned off suddenly. Well, yeah, again, but you can still practice with no music. So again, same exact thing. You're hitting the first 2 steps. You're gonna come all the way back. You're sliding through. Eventually, you're gonna pick up the speed. Once you're 100% comfortable. Yep, that is it. That is it. Yeah. Here we go. So, thank you. Another 2 minutes. Any questions, just raise your hand. Now you're going to do a full six step, but this time you're doing it with the intention to help you spin and or to carry your physical body momentum. All right. So from here, I think that the best way that I can really describe this is one. If you're comfortable doing six steps at a particular speed, I'm going to ask you to up the speed without making it too sloppy at the same time. Okay? So you want to try to think of this as like a sprint. Like you're using this as a way to go from like 0 to 60, within like 2 seconds. You're really using this to drive force. So after, I'm going to demonstrate it slow, then I'm going to speed it up. But from here, right, the second I get here, I'm coming down, and I'm going to choose a side that I want to spin. So I can either come back and go this way, or I can come back and go this way. And then from there, using that same momentum, I'm going to keep spinning, bring it back, and do it again. And we're going to be using this on the momentum that we're initially getting from our system. Okay, so if I go a little bit, if I try to do everything in order. So here, boom, boom, right? Keep in mind that when I come here, I'm putting all the weight on one side. I'm shifting up on one side of my arm. In this case, it's going to be, I feel pressure on my shoulder, going all the way down to my hand. I switch the momentum off, just like this, and I keep it going. I switch again when my feet are directly in front of me. I bring it in, and the goal is that I'm keeping both of my feet kind of like tucked together just right here. So I want to make sure that it's not like here, it's not here, but my feet are perfectly aligned together, just like that. I'm leaning all the way back at this point. I'm shifting the momentum from one side to the next. I'm here, switch, coming all the way up, back. Now, in this case, my feet accidentally got crossed together, and this happens like mid-sweep. Just try your best to loosen it up, because there might be times like if you're going super fast or like you're being like really aggressive, you might end up kind of like doing something like this. Try to just fix it and you come right back around. Here and here. Because I'm getting a little tied up right there, but I'm trying to keep it like that. Alright, so that's just one important detail that when I was practicing this a lot, I would sometimes, again, accidentally go from here to here. Just try to keep it like this. I also don't know, I'm looking at everybody's shoes. Depending on your shoe type, you might want to add A, additional force. B, I know I see you guys using some baby powder over there, just to help with this motion right here. The powder will help you slide a little bit more, but at the same time, you might lose your footing if you rely on it too much. I prefer to not use baby powder when I dance, even though I do know that it's very beneficial for slides and things like that. But it's there if you guys want to try it out a little bit. Yeah. For sure. Right? So, and then from here, and then I'm going to switch one more time. And I just want to see if you can just at least get 2 rotations in. Meaning, when I say rotation, your shins are going to pretty much come under your butt. And count that as like 1. So, right after you're done with your 6 step here, down, and I'm starting to fall back. I'm shifting out. I switch, come all the way up. Oops, all the way back. There we go. It's so hard to do it slow, but it's a lot easier when you're doing it full time, or if you're doing it directly from your 6 step. Keep in mind that the 6 step is just one suggestion that I'm giving you guys to build down momentum. Because towards the end of class, I want to give you guys options to, if you have like a larger vocabulary where I want you guys, again, just get rid of what you think that you have, that you can use to help generate momentum. Some people do backspin, come up. Just from that momentum that they had kind of later into their backspin. I've seen other people use it from the windmill. I've seen other people do it from swipe, flare, doing a half flare. Like I think at one point we're like practicing doing an incomplete flare intentionally. So if I would go like this and switch, or go this way, the momentum from you doing flare can be super useful as well. But I don't want to give you guys all the answers. I like having you guys think sometimes, and I think that's, I don't know, I take pride in that, where I don't want to just hand up everything. I want to give you some technique and see how are you able to do this. So then there you go. And then, would you feel comfortable continuing it with both feet directly after the hook? Boom. So that was clean. Yeah. But for now, do you have any questions?
I think, like, I don't think I really understand where the mic is now.
Okay, I'll walk you through it real quick. Alright, so
Is it directing?
So at one point, both of your arms are going to be directly behind you. So if you go through from 6 steps slowly, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm stepping. My knees are coming down, and I'm kind of getting ready to head. So this position right here, we're gonna transition our toes from like literally sitting on our toes to then coming back up. But then this is gonna be so subtle when you're doing it in motion. Again, if I go a little bit faster, here, I'm kind of like really exaggerating my back all the way to the floor. Both of my knees are hitting the ground at the same exact time. Right now, my left arm is all the way to the back. I'm going to place this down, and I'm going to use this to kind of like plant myself, and I'm going to use my hips and the momentum that I just generated from our 6th step to choose the direction, whether or not I want to go this way, or if I want to go this way. So whether or not you want to go clockwise or counterclockwise, I'm going to leave that up to you to see what feels like right. I know everybody has their preferences on what direction they want to travel, but again, I'll show you one more time. This way, here. So again, here, I'm pretty much having both my knees shift down, and I'm leaning all the way back. Here, and at the same time, I'm starting to twist. And this is going to all happen in the span of a second. So not to like overwhelm you, but and then here, shifting my momentum, just coming up, I'm pushing up, right there, and I lean all the way back, over, and same thing, up, back, and around, just like that.
I think I definitely about like power, right? Like I have no power.
Yeah,
It
so
has to
exactly.
literally be behind you, or else you have like nothing to pivot.
Yeah, but you're gonna feel it though, so it's gonna, your hips are going to be rising, and I would say there is some level of flexibility needed, so I don't know what anybody's level of flexibility is, but I guess some might just naturally get easier than others. But for now, I just want to see us focusing on just trying to do it from our 6 step, because I think that's the one step that everybody knows. If you feel comfortable, I get like, all right, I want to try to explore a little bit deeper, and you want to kind of like you want to, and it's the best thing, like you can do it from the book. If you have some other ideas or other variations because I know Ben's a teacher as well. I think that this is just good just for all of us just to kind of like know everything with each side. But that's just a choice and an option. So if you want to just focus on one side and then get a little bit more creative on one side, so and you want to keep it a little bit easier and just bounce between clockwise and counterclockwise, it's a win-win either way. Right?
Also, yeah,
so
we're talking about with the shoes and stuff.
Yeah, because I'm
looking
looking around and I feel like I'm just paying attention to like the top of everybody's shoes. Like my shoes luckily don't have a lot of grip or friction, but I know that some of our shoes are different. So if you notice that it's difficult for you to even just go like this because of the material of your shoe, that might mean that you might have to just put extra force, which is not fair to you, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I just
yeah. Or I was gonna say another suggestion is that you know also practice this out of shoes and socks. But there is a fallback on that is that when you're doing footwork and socks, you lose like the support of your shoe, so you might get some of like those depending on how strong your feet are.
these are my
Yeah, I mean you would know. Like I'm looking around and you guys know your shoe. Like I don't know everybody's shoe, but if you know that you can at least do this without getting stuck, right? Then you'll be fine. But I only say that because in my last class I was teaching again earlier this week, some of the other adults were getting stuck because like their shoes have like a different type of material. So please keep that in mind. Yeah, head protection, pants. Yeah, I mean breaking. Yeah, I mean, and this is just for like your own safety. It's kind of like riding a bike. Like you don't have to, but I do recommend it, especially if you're not used to doing the movement yet. So I think like once you get a little bit more experience, if you continue with breaking, that it will get easier to just do some of the stuff. Right?
Thanks.
Alright, so let's see it. Timer on. Alright, let's start. Other types of floor work, and particularly threads. Yeah. So again, take another minute, and whatever it is that you were working on, stick with that, because then we're going to use that footwork and or whatever it is that you were doing to do that step at least 2 times. And then we're going to use that to go into threads. And if time permits, I also want to use that to go into one particular freeze, which would be this. Because I think that this would be a really good transition. If you're already here, you're here, and you come all the way to the back. And use that same amount of that shift up. And I'm going all the way up. Here and jump and kind of yourself. If I do the whole thing in real time, if I start here, here, to that, or here. Right?
Wait, so are you like snapping to the side or are you going back?
Let me show you one more time. So here, coming all the way down. You can have momentum. Coming into my right shoulder, and I'm on my left foot. And I'm going to jump off this left foot, and this right foot is going to just be hanging out in the air.
Okay. Yeah.
Here, and then boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
But I think we went over this like some time ago.
I think I know it.
So then even better. But that was just one suggestion, and another one was to go over a couple of different threads. But I think that the momentum and a lot of the floor work that we're doing from this has a lot of possibilities that I like. That I'm looking at everybody doing them. I'm seeing all these different ideas. That freeze, I don't expect for everybody to be able to do. Maybe except for me, he has it already. But for everybody else, obviously we can train it. But I also really wanted to go over a couple threads from that position. But I just want to see you guys do this one more time for like another minute. I kind of just want to look at everybody, and then I'll break down how to get into the other stuff. So I'm gonna put one more minute on the timer. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, go. shoulder comes out of it just right here. I'm already kind of like in a perfect grip position, just right here. So that will look like me kicking out one foot, and I'm gonna grab my left foot just right here, and I'm putting it right back through here. From here, I want to hold on to the same foot, and I'm gonna roll back. Just right here, right? And from here, I'm now going to lift my hips up, stretch it through, and roll all the way back to the same side. Right? And that's going to look just like this. And then you switch your hands, roll, and you put your right hand or your left, that goes to the face. Goes right there. And I'm still. Alright, good. Let's go through that a couple more times. Right? But yeah, I do want to warn everybody either, because these shoes have something like zero grip, and if your sneakers don't have grip, it might be really hard to hold this stance. Especially if you bend when you're using powder. So be careful. But I'm going to walk through it again one more time. So again, bring this in, bring all the way in, up here, dropping down just right here. My right foot is going to cut up. I'm grabbing this left foot, right? This is going to come up, and I thread that through. Now from here, I'm going to shift back. Muscle my back. Just right here. Now I'm going to lean all the way up and back. And my hips are coming up. So thread through. And at the same time, all the way up. And now I'm on my shoulder. And from here, I'm switching my hands, and my right hand is going to come and pretty much hold my right hip. And that can be squeezed right there. But I have zero grip, so it's hard to hold it. Assuming that you guys have more grip than I do, that I think it makes like a cool way to end the session, or a cool way to get out of that. Right? I'll bring it out again. Now that you guys understand and know how to do it. Does anybody need to see it one more time? Okay, so does it help that I do it towards the mirror, or should I face you, or should I go sideways?
I think you really ended here. I'm just gonna watch it.
Okay, alright. Yeah, so I'll go to the middle. Right. I guess I'll start right here. Maybe I'll face this way. So right here. Roll it down. Here. I start here. Right foot comes up. Grabbing this foot. I thread it through. I come up to my back. Just right here. While holding on to this left foot. Lifting up and punching up. So I feel my core. Right here. And then going to lift my hips up. I thread through. And from here I'm going to lean all the way back. And all of the weight is going to be on my right shoulder. Just right there. Catching myself with my right foot. I'm switching my hands, and then my right hand is going to support my hip. Boom. Just like that. Okay. And to get out of this, you can drop down. And you can, I like to be a little bit more elegant, like sometimes like roll out and then, slide out like that. And then I might, I don't know, I'll spring up with a freeze. I'm trying to think of other unique ways to get out of that. So again, if I'm here, maybe this way, so I go through, come up, here, switch, up, or you can even use the sub flip, come in, up, here. And this is another freeze I did, I think, some weeks ago. We did this. Boom. I don't know if that rings a bell. Anybody? No? No? Yeah. So from here, from here, up and down. Up. And now we're back here. And you can keep it going. So you can get, again, there's so many different pathways. I'm just sharing the problems that are kind of popping up. But I think, again, like going back to just like that motion, or this motion, is super important. This is helping your flow. Again, it might not feel as natural for some of us yet, but it's just, just like everything is racing with the little things that really work on your own time. And most importantly, like getting to the habit of exploring, kind of like getting all the movement. So, like for today, I just wanted to kind of have you guys like use this stuff and see how far you can really go with like your own ability when it comes to doing the actual steps. In addition to seeing what you might come up with your own shit. Alright? But I would like to see you guys try to do that one thread and come over. Okay? Yeah. So you're asking like after you do the thread, let me just show you. So I'm here, right? Putting this through, right? I'm leaning back here. I'm taking my right foot, lifting up my hips at the same time, and I'm putting that just right there. Now this is like the heart of the tricky of maybe like the uncomfortable part. Here I'm lifting my hips all the way up, and I'm then going to have all the weight shift over to my right shoulder. So I'm going to go all the way up, and then shift over, and transition to my right shoulder. And then from here I'm going to switch my hands, and then use my right hand to go to support as I'm crouching. Here we go. Just right here. Oh. Actually, that kind of works. Here, here, here. I'm experimenting myself now. Hold up. Here. Breathe on the other side. It's a window. Yeah, you give me ideas. Oh man, I'm so also this makes me super mindful of your neck. I think it was last week. I pinched a couple nerves. So just like as you're like rolling around and as you're like playing with it, just I just don't want you to be just vibe with it. Pinch nerves fucking suck, dude. It's like it hurts to go like that, it hurts to go like that, it hurts to go up, and it hurts to go down. And it only feels somewhat normal when you're keeping like your face forward. Yeah. But again, I just want to reiterate that thread one more time. So from here, right? Coming all the way up, right? And then I'm going to shift onto this right shoulder. And at the same exact time, my chin is going to kind of stay tucked in. Just to help stability with my neck. So that way, like, I'm not like accidentally like fucking up my neck. So I keep my chin in, and I'm gonna tuck it in. And also, if you're having difficulty coming all the way up and over, you can rock back and forth. So here's the other stuff. This is all the way up. Yeah. Cool. Oops. My bad. Yeah, I'm still sorry. My bad. So the cool thing about like the rock, going back and forth is that it's gonna give you the push to go all the way over, but then when you actually go over, you have like the strength and or the energy to kind of do something with that foot. So I can barely do it just because these shoes are just sliding a lot like that. But if you're able to do it, I'm gonna try my best not to move. Not to go like that. Switch, pop up, and stay comfortable holding. But the thing that I did by accident earlier was me coming onto my left elbow. Boom. Right there. And then coming back down, here, back down, here, oops. want to do any type of top rock, any type of, if you want to do anything prior to that, I don't care. I encourage it. But ultimately, because we're at the last 10, I want to use like this next 10 minutes for us to do something prior to what we've been going over today in class. Again, you can use like your cross step, your back step, in regards to the top rock movement, and stuff. I don't care. Whoa. Wait. Is this a yeah, I think, yeah. Or not. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I think maybe he was curious, like, I don't know. But, yeah, I want us just to try to do everything that we've done in class. Again, anything that you do prior to that, encourage. And if you're not really sure what to do, then just fall back over warm-ups, like this class, last class. But ultimately, I do want to see something, again, to generate momentum. You don't know what to do, have your six step, doing a sweep twice, going to the thread, ending, freeze, and if you know how to get out of that freeze, or what attempt to get out of that freeze, again, which is pretty tricky because we're ending, I think, we're ending in like this position here. And I was talking about doing this. Maybe you can use this to go. So another thread, switch, boom, boom, boom. So I'm just playing the threads at that point. But you can do whatever. But what's up? I didn't know that. But yeah, you can. I just want you guys to use this as an opportunity to kind of just like play with like the freeze itself is not comfortable. Like it's, even for me, like I can do it. The freeze doesn't feel good. A lot of I think like the coolest freezes, they do not feel good. Not unless I don't know, like you just can like naturally do it, but like that freeze, like I've trained to do that and it doesn't feel good. But I can do it. But just if you know for a fact that this is like your limit, like I have absolutely no idea like what to do. Again, this freeze here, some suggestions could be down, up, jump through. If that's too much, slide, go back in, boom. That's another way that you can get up. You could, you could jump forward, boom, roll, push up, walk backwards, boom. This, I want you to play with it. There's so many things like I can teach in classes how to get up and down, but again, this is just gonna come with more and more experience where you can start to think of things. And yeah, so let's just try to play with that. So I want to see everybody go at least once. If time permits, I think we got like 9 or 8 minutes. Then you can go 2 times. And that's it. Do we have any questions before we get started? Yeah, one by one. Yeah, and I want to create like a giant cycle. Yeah. Yeah, well, we have 5 minutes up, so depending on how quick everybody is, maybe it's time for 2 turns per person. If not, you can just be one person and do like one really long set for like a minute each. Just get lost with it. I feel like if you're going to be breaking and if your set is longer than a minute, that's a no-no. That's just my philosophy because then it just feels too long. There's a couple like breakers that I've seen do sets that long when they have like a lot of storytelling, there's like a lot of content. But yeah, that I was also thinking of pieces because he does really long sets too sometimes. But yeah, just again, ultimately how thing number one, this Wednesday there is a party called Behind the Groove. I got invited to be like one of the battle invites. So I'm a little nervous and excited for that, and that's happening this Wednesday. No, it's gonna be at Bogart House in Brooklyn. But the name of the event is called Behind the Groove. I have flyers if anybody wants them. This is a night thing. Yeah, so I think the doors open at 9, and like the actual battle will probably happen at I'm assuming 10:30. But it's it's also a party too, so that's happening too. And again, I know some of you might have work or school, but I'm just throwing it out there in case you guys are free. And again, that's this Wednesday. What else? This Saturday's Battle 101, hip hop edition. So that's an event that's held here. It's an open style competition, and yeah, if you guys have nothing going on Saturday, I highly recommend it. I'll be shooting and I'll be competing as well. And then this is maybe too far in advance, but I'm actually throwing my own battle out in Long Island, and it's going to be LI Get Down Volume 3. I'm going to be doing, I'm still debating on the number of people, whether it's going to be 3v3 or 4v4, but I'm going to be doing breaking crew battles. So, if you guys are interested in that, stay on the lookout for that. That's going to be on June 22nd, which is a Sunday. And the prize for that's going to be $800. I'm also doing 2v2 open styles, which means anything goes. And then also 1v1 kids battles. And again, and I'm also debating if I'm going to also have a gaming tournament as well. So I'm thinking either Smash Brothers or Tekken 8.
What? I play Tekken 8. You play fighting games?
Yeah, I do. I'm pretty involved. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Bro,
yeah.
that's sick.
So I'm still thinking about that now. I'm looking for sponsors, vendors, and things like that. So I don't know if you guys have any connects, but if so, let me know, please. And what else? I think that is it. Lastly, again, if you guys want your footage, just DM me, people inside of my G. And open session starts now. It's 11:30. And I think that's it. Alright, thank you guys. And that is it. Special class. The weather's getting better. I want to do again. Yeah, that again. Same thing goes with Six Flags.
I get really bad nose.
Oh, I get really
bad. It's really bad. Yeah.
Sheesh. I I love roller coasters.
So bad.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
On your bones. Damn.
Okay. All good, bro. Oh, what up, what up, what up? Hey.
What's up, bro? Oh, the finger, bro.
What's good, brother? Alright.
Like Catch it. Catch it. Yeah.
It's demanding.
Alright, y'all. Thank y'all for coming out. I have two announcements. First is there is a party that's happening this Wednesday. In case anybody's interested, it's called Behind the Groove. It's hosted by Rockefeller and Quickstep from Full Circle. And there's also a house battle that's going on if anybody wants to go to watch that. I'm competing if anybody wants to come to support. Lastly, on June 22nd, I'm throwing Volume 3 of LI Get Down. This is an event that I curated by myself. It's going to be a breaking crew battle. I'm still debating if I'm going to have it be a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4, but I'm just giving everybody here a heads up with everybody being a breaker. And again, that's going to be on June 22nd on a Sunday. It's $800 for the winner. I'm also having a 2v2 open styles in the same competition and a 1v1 kids breaking battle in case you guys have any students. And that's it. If anybody needs any other deets, just hit me up, B-Boy Static on IG. And that's it. Thank y'all for coming. And that is it. Have a good night.
Yo, one more head spin, right? One more head spin?
Oh man, I'm cooked, bro. Go ahead. You go, bro.
You gonna see the flyer? Or
I am.
No, I'm closing, so I'm gonna start turning off the lights. Sorry, I have to commute to Jersey.
just want to say, Adrian, thank you.
yeah, that I turned on already.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
I'll leave the comics. What's the need?
Alright, thank you for coming. What's your name again? I'm Josh. Josh. Alright, pleasure, bro. Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh boy, oh boy.
I'm gonna give you that first.
I think the spot that I just took is, yeah, I think I'm good now. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Alright, brother. Good to see you. Yeah, bye.
Daniel. Good to see you around. Nice to see you around, right?
Yeah, always, dude. Always.
Thank you, bro.
Hey, see you guys.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you for coming.
The camp park.